Hello guys, welcome to my channel. This is the 68th tutorial in this course, and in this tutorial we are going to talk about array of structured variables. Now in the last tutorial we saw how we can declare structured variables inside the main function and then access the members of the structure using the member access operator and put values in the structure members and then later on display those values on screen. And that's pretty much what we're going to do in this tutorial as well, but instead of declaring two different variables in the main function, we are going to create an array of structured variables, and we're going to see how that simplifies a lot of things for us. So as you can see, using code blocks, I've saved a file. I've given it the name array of structured variables. It has the extension .c. On line 1 in this file, I have the stdio.h header file. On line 2, I have the string.h header file. And then on line 3, I have declared a structure called album, and it's the same structure with which we've been working in the past. So it has 4 elements in it, and all 4 of them you can see now are arrays of characters, right? So title is an array of character, or you can think of all of these as strings, right? So title is a string that can have a maximum of 35 characters, and then artist is another string that can again have a maximum of 35 characters, and number of tracks and year, both of these are also strings. And the reason why I've declared these as strings and not as integers is because we're going to use the gets and puts functions to work with these two elements as well, right? So then on line number 10, I have declared the main function. Inside the main function, you see that there is a declaration statement that declares structure variables, but instead of declaring two variables, as I told before, we're going to work with an array of structure variables. So I have to use the keyword struct first, and then the name of my structure, which is album, right? And then I have to specify the name of the array of structures that I'm going to use. So that's album, and here the A is small case, and then within square brackets I can specify how many variables do I want, right? So in this tutorial we're going to work with 2 because you know, the code that is going to follow the declaration is pretty long, right? So I mean, although I won't have to repeat the code for the variables that I have, but still, you know, to process all the structured variables it would require a lot of time, and to avoid that I've just declared an array of 2 variables. And then on line number 13 I have declared 2 integers, and they're called I and j. And then on line number 14 I have used a for loop to loop over the code that's there between the curly braces on line number 15 and line number 25, and we're going to see that code. But the reason why we've used a loop to go through the code is because we've used an array here, right? So in order to access both the variables inside this array, we would have to use a loop, right? So the initial value of I firstly is the control variable for the first for loop, and the initial value of it is 0, and it's going to loop till 1, right? So there are going to be 2 iterations of the code between the braces. And then on line number 16, as you can see, there's a printf statement that's going to display a message enter title on screen, and then I've used the gets function to get the value for the title element for the first variable inside this array, right? So the first variable will have the index 0, so that's why album within the square brackets you have I, and the value of I for the first iteration is going to be 0, right? So album 0 dot title would put the value inside the title element for the first variable in this array of structures. Then on the next line I have another printf statement that's going to display the message enter artist, and then I've used the gets function to get the artist name, and then I have used printf to display the message enter number of tracks, and then I've used the gets function to get the number of tracks for the first variable, and then printf says enter year, and then I've again used you know, the gets function to get the value for year, right? So this entire process is going to be repeated one more time when the value of I is 1, right? So for the next for loop iteration, that is. And then you must have noticed that I also have a printf statement on line number 24 that is not going to display anything. It's just going to, you know, print some characters on screen, and it's actually going to execute twice, right? And once after each for loop iteration, and it's just to make things neat, right? So then on line number 26, I have another printf statement that is going to display the message displaying on from information, because now we've received information from the user, right? And now we would want to display it on screen. So we're going to do that using another for loop, and this one's going to use j as the control variable, and you can see that I've given j the initial value 0, and its maximum value is going to be 1. So again, there are going to be 2 iterations for this loop as well, and in this loop 2 I have a series of printf statements, and I've used the puts function here because instead of getting information from the user, we're displaying stuff on screen, right? So on line number 29, there's a printf statement that displays title with a colon, and then I've used the puts function to display the value of title, and then printf says artist, and then I've used the puts function to display the artist name, and then again, there are pairs of printf statements and puts function statements for number of tracks in year, right? And also I have a printf statement on line number 37 that's going to display the asterisk symbols, and obviously it's going to split lines, right? So let me run this program. I'll have to click on build and run to do that, and there you go. In the output window I see the message enter artist, right? So if I type in an album name, Dark Side of the Moon, and press the enter key, I see the next message, which is enter artist. If I type in Pink Floyd, press the enter key, it asks me for the number of tracks. Type in 9, press the enter key, it asks me for the year. I'll type in 1973 here, and then you see that after a line break, I see those series of asterisk symbols that I included in the printf statement that I had in the main function in the for loop, and then I am asked for the title again, right? So this is because we had 2 structure variables. So for the first one we've entered, and for the second one we are going to enter now. So I'll type in wish you were here, and then again the artist is Pink Floyd, and the number of tracks in this album are 5, and the year in which the album was released was 1975, right? And there you go. When I press the enter key, I see that after a line break I saw the asterisk symbols again, and then there was another line break, and then I see the message displaying information, and then the information that I supplied as input to the program, that information is displayed, right? So I see the title is Dark Side of the Moon, artist Pink Floyd, number of tracks, and again the same thing for Wish You Were Here. So that's it for now. In the next tutorial we are going to check out another feature of structures maybe, so please subscribe to my channel in case you haven't already, and I'm going to see you soon.